Good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Monday, December 18th, 2023. And our top story today, harnessing the power of technology to change the way we age. Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Kim Smith is a journalism student at Hunter College. Kim, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I know before we actually launched into the interview, you shared a lot of your background working within your community and the fact that you wanted to give back to your community. That's really a key theme of your career. But let's talk about within the community. There's an organization called OATS that really helps seniors acquaint themselves with technology.
Yes. It's a fabulous organization. When I first engaged with OATS, they were based in Brooklyn, but they would travel to what they would call their partners throughout the community. So they traveled to Harlem, where I am. They would go to Brooklyn, different areas of Brooklyn, Queens, wherever seniors congregated and wanted some type of additional technology assistance or even initial technology assistance.
Yeah, and we were talking about when the iPad first was created. And I think back to those times. I mean, remember, before the iPod and before the Apple iPhone, we didn't really have a lot of this smartphone technology. All of us had to get acclimated to it. How difficult do you think it is for seniors across the board to understand how to use and leverage some of this technology?
Initially, like back in 2012, I believe it was way more difficult. Nowadays, when seniors kind of want to know how to do something via iPad or computer, they're quick to go onto YouTube.
Yeah.
But back in 2012, that was not the lay of the land at the time. So I know personally when OATS came to Abyssinian, I was doing some work with Abyssinian Development Corporation. And when they came to the community space, you could tell how intimidated just about all of the seniors were with even trying to turn the iPad on. And like within about maybe a good 2, 3, maybe 4 sessions, you saw the comfortability because the instructor, and I'm so sorry I don't remember his name, he just made them feel so relaxed. And he was actually a senior. So I think that kind of knocked down a little bit of the intimidation because it was a senior teaching other seniors.
Yeah, and that's really important. And I think about all that work to get people learning about the technology. You fast forward, we went through the pandemic in 2020. A lot of that technology, really important. You needed it for not only communication with your loved ones, your friends and family, because people. I think the audience recalls we were all kind of quarantined, but also doing telehealth. We do everything now. You talk to your doctor. So it was probably very instructive for those individuals. Fast forward 5, 10, years to the pandemic.
Absolutely, I agree. And even with the transition to telehealth, Zooming so much, because again, a lot of seniors who have family that may be down south or in different boroughs, that's how they kind of stayed in touch during the pandemic. And I know in Harlem particularly, Zooming, iPadding was great, but there was still a digital divide as far as having high tech internet service.
Yeah.
So, and I know that was one of the things that, happened with some of the younger students as well. So it's one thing to learn the technology, but also making sure that high speed connections are in place so that when senior and at a discounted cost. Because one issue, and I remember I spoke to an elected official in my community during the pandemic, I was like, you need to cooperate and partner with these cable companies so that at the end of the day, they're offering discounts for seniors and for low income people, especially during the pandemic. So it's one thing to have the technology, but then not to be able to have the high speed connections so that you can get the best of the device that you're using is kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be able to access your doctor. It always helps if you're going to FaceTime or Zoom or Teams your doctor. You got to have the proper connectivity. Kim, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Oats and helping seniors leverage newer technologies. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network. Well, Kim, thanks so much for staying with us. Really appreciate you hanging around for segment number 2 this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. I just want to pick up on you talked about the broadband, access to broadband, really important. Do you think we've made progress since the pandemic, getting people of low income access to broadband internet? I can't say it this morning.
Yes and no. Here in New York, there's a cable company called Astound. There's Spectrum. There's Verizon. Through various legislators, the state and the assembly, they work together to make sure that if you make I believe the cap might be under $40,000 or $50,000.
Sure.
I'll send you a little bit of research. But if you're under a certain income level, you get a drastic discount on your broadband or whatever your Wi-Fi. It wasn't like that during the pandemic, but through community advocacy across the 5 boroughs, just saying like, this is outrageous. We need nowadays you shop online.
As you do everything.
Do the telehealth.
You literally do everything online.
Exactly. And we all know even something as simple as Zoom, if your Wi-Fi is wonky, it's not good. So at least, strides have been made in New York. So I think we're moving in the right direction. But I mean, with inflation, with everything else from food, travel, even going to the movies for a nice little, evening out, everything is so expensive. So trying to make sure that at the end of the day, your Wi-Fi is reasonably priced. I think that should be something that's available across the board, especially for the seniors.
Yeah. I want to ask you, just kind of shifting gears a little bit, I feel like, and we talked about this in the first segment, that the seniors of today may be a little bit more technologically sound. I want to ask you about some of the newer technologies, in particular, artificial intelligence. I think we're all trying to get our arms and our heads around this one. How does that affect seniors? Because a lot of these, like healthcare providers, financial services companies are leveraging AI in the form of like a chat bot. So that's kind of usually the first interaction you have when you call customer service. But how are seniors today, in your experience, interacting with some of these newer technologies like AI?
Not too well. Most seniors, especially I think like over the threshold of 70 years old, 70, 80, um, it's not very customer friendly often
Yeah.
because you're hearing a voice that doesn't sound quite human. They're better than what they were even 5 years ago, but you hear that automated. And when you're like pressing zero or saying, I want to speak with a human, it's so much either you have to keep pressing buttons or they'll just disconnect you. So oftentimes seniors will go to either their elected officials' offices to get assistance through what's called here in New York constituent services.
Yeah.
So there's been times where a senior trying to just get basic things accomplished and can't get through the AI. At the end of the day, they have to go elsewhere to get assistance. And I think that's counterproductive,
Oh,
at
so,
the end of the day. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say I
No,
tend to agree with you, and yeah, I don't. I'm dating myself here, but I remember the movie War Games, and if you remember that movie with Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy, there was a voice synthesizer, and it said, "Shall we play a game?" Very
yeah.
different. Now the technology sounds very similar. Last question, Kim. I mean, do you think, with all the work that Oates is doing, and kind of coming through the pandemic, is there still a fear for seniors? I have a mother who, I'm middle aged, so my mother is adopted very well to technology. My father has adopted very well to technology. My in-laws are seniors as fearful of technology. And I know in the New York subway they're adopting new technology to allow you to use your device in order to go into the subway system. So are they less fearful today than they were, say, 8, 10 years ago?
Absolutely. Way less fearful because, through just outreach and communication and engagement with seniors, they have an actual device in their hands. The fact that the iPhones, the Android phones, they're mini computers. So believe it or not, they are navigating through YouTube, navigating through Google. It's so funny. There was some things going on at a senior complex in my neighborhood, and so I went over to kind of talk to a few seniors. And one of the seniors was like, "Yeah, because I Googled and I found out that they're not supposed to Googling." She was like, "And I found that they weren't supposed to do that. Within 3 days, they were supposed to." And I was so pleased. I chuckled because it's like, yeah, you guys called me over to get a bit of assistance, but they were proactive through technology. And I just thought, I said, well, you're doing the right thing. You're, looking up things and trying to get a bit of knowledge before you actually engage with someone one on one. So I think the fear and the trepidation surrounding technology with seniors, I think it has tremendously reduced. And I think that's a great thing because I can't imagine what technology will be just 3 years from now. So
Oh
we need
yeah,
our seniors to be as comfortable as possible.
absolutely. And look, people are living longer, they're living healthier. Technology is going to be here unless we have like a major brownout or something that happens. Kim, we're going to have to leave it there. Great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back on the
And
program
thank you
again
so much for
soon.
having me. Thank you.
That wraps up this episode of BRNAM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more in all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Then visit our website. We're back again tomorrow with another edition of BRNAM. We'll have a very special guest. Until then, I'm Joe Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Waiting here for you to take and drink of. But if you're tired of the same old,
Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.